my friends and I came up with this idea of an alliance called New API. So, New API is formed to empower women entrepreneurs across the ASEAN, Pacific, and India region. And this was something that came out of the exchange or the study trip that I went on in the US. And it is open to women led organizations across the region. So, besides myself, of course, from Malaysia, my other co founders of this alliance are Shireen Fong of Fiji, Tanya Raj of India, and Mona Celine Yap of the Philippines. And so we embarked on this partnership after participating in the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity program, which was in the United States from 6 to 19. And this particular program really inspired us to think of something that we could do for the women in our region. And because we were women in business, we worked with women in business, we could understand the challenges. And I was thinking to myself, this is the perfect time. This is a ripe time for an alliance such as this. And the funny thing was, when I came back, I was thinking to myself, how shall I spread word of this alliance? Because, like any good idea, it needs to be shared. But it was just at the idea stage. We had the concept paper ready. We knew what we are going to do. We knew what kinds of activities we're going to conduct in this alliance and what kinds of possibilities that alliance could bring to the women of this region. Besides best practices, we could also open up markets for the women. We could also open up learning sessions. We could open up even similar exchange visits country to country. So for me, I believe that the fastest way is through the media, and that is how I pitched my Penang State Government newspaper. And we sat down, we had an interview where I told the reporter, Mr. Ong, that I was going to start this alliance. And a lot of times, I think people would not, or maybe, I'm generalizing here, but most people would think that if it's just an idea at the idea stage, um, it's very difficult to tell people what it is or to announce it first. And sometimes I was like that in the past, where I felt that I had to get everything ready. I had to get everything, including the structure, including what I'm going to do, everything ready before I could announce it to the world. And here's the thing, from what I've learned in my business and probably what I learned in my life is that I realized that sometimes you just have to let other people come along and help you build that idea. So for me, this was like a way for me to test this idea of mine, right? So I told this story to Mr. Ong of Bulletin Mutiara, who kindly wrote up an article about the trip. But more importantly than the trip was the alliance, the new API alliance that came out of it. And it's an alliance dedicated to empowering women led organizations in entrepreneurship across the region. So I decided to announce it. And interestingly, after I announced it and when the news report came out, I shared it with the people I knew who would support and advocate for this alliance. And I've put it out on my LinkedIn, I put it out on my Facebook, and people were very excited, very happy. I have friends contacting me from far away saying that how can we support you? How can we help you? And this is a lesson that I learned from doing this little social experiment, this little pilot testing of mine, is that even if you have an idea and the idea is probably 30, 40, 50% formed, and you have a next 50% to go, because I know that the next 50% is about getting other women entrepreneur associations or organizations on board, getting people to come on to be part of the team, to help us to grow this with us, because we are for women. We started the alliance, but I also believe that it is really not about us. And I know I keep saying this about everything that I do, but I believe that at some point in time, you can start something, but eventually it takes on a life of its own. And if you have that expectation, you will always find advocates and supporters for your project because you want to do it for the greater good of all. You want to do it for the women of this region. And so I want to do it for the women of this region. And I believe that this is a idea that has legs. This idea, this alliance is going to help so many more women. And because of that, I strongly believe in announcing it. I strongly believe in telling people even before it's ready. And I encourage so many of my women friends and male friends to come on board to help us shape it even as we are growing it.